Yeah, hello, my people. My name is Chinedu Anichi. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching Chinedu Anichi TV from. My name is Chinedu Anichi, your one and only celebrity here. So, and this is Chinedu Anichi TV, streaming live from St. Louis, Missouri, United States of America. My people, how are you doing? I greet you most fundamentally that today in our talk show, we have a very, very important personality, a hardworking person, an author. You know, when we mean an author, an erudite author, an academic, that's a scholar, a songwriter, a researcher, and let me not play her trumpet because she's coming up to tell us all about herself. But today is going to be mind blowing. I don't know where you are. For those of you watching on Instagram, for those of you on YouTube, for those of you on Facebook, wherever you are watching from, please get prepared. We have a resourceful person today that we will be discussing balancing your academic, like you're a professor, like you're a PhD holder, but notwithstanding, what we're discussing today is you can still have those certificates, but balance it up with some other skills, balance it up with some other careers. So we have somebody who is academic, who is a PhD holder, who is a songwriter, who is a researcher, who is an author, and she is going to dwell seriously on how we can go about balancing our skills despite the certificates or academic status we have. And today we'll be having Honorable Dr. Mrs. Mercy Ngozi Alu from Illinois, United States of America. So very soon I'll be bringing her up to the stage and the studio. So wherever you are, I want you to start sharing this live video in your page. Make sure you share this live video. Share this live video in your page. Get educated, get motivated, come on. Everything you need, you have it today from Dr. Honorable and Dr. Mrs. Mercy Ngozi Alu. Okay, let me bring Ngozi Alu to the stage. And today, Ngozi Alu is here.
Hello,
Hello.
everybody. I'm happy to be here. Hello, Mr. Chinedu.
Hello, Doc. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for
Okay.
having me.
I want you to officially introduce yourself to our viewers. And yeah, let's start from your introduction. Just officially introduce your status, who you are, what you do for a living, and then a detailed introduction a bit. Then we can go into other things. Thank you.
Sure,
And
sure.
welcome to Chinedu Anichi TV.
Thank you. So my name is Dr. Mercy Alu, and I'm a researcher. I'm an author. I do have a couple of books to my credit. I'm also
I
a
think
songwriter
you need to increase your volume a
and
bit.
singer. Okay, so let me increase my volume. So I'm an author, I'm a researcher, I'm a songwriter and singer. I have a few books to my credit. I also do assist with some of the UN SDGs for an organization that works with me out of West Africa. And I also serve on the board for the International Association of African Authors and Scholars, and I represent the Intercontinental Music Awards out of Hollywood. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Doc, you're welcome. And today, you know what we have today? We'll be having you full. I know what it took me to have you, to get you to this studio. So there's an Igbo adage that says where I come from. Onye rie ọjị ya kpara ọjị nkụ, na da rie ọjị mgbọsị niile. So I know what it took me over 3 to 4 months. I have been planning on bringing you here, but today, by God's grace, you're here. So we are going to exhaust whatever we want. So for those of you who are listening in Ndugoke and others, let me go to Instagram. Yeah, those in Instagram, Favy Braids, yeah, Mr. Denisa, Rico Domestic. Okay, thank you for following me. Please share this live video, share this educating live video, and let's go. So, yeah, Doc, you're an academic doctor, and today the kind of topic we have is balancing your academic, carrying your certificate here, and then thinking of whatever thing you can do. I was discussing with a friend that came on this show 2 days back, and in one of his what do you call philanthropic escapades, there was a time the lecturers in Nigeria, especially University of Nigeria and Soka, they were on 8 month strike, and there was serious hunger in the land. The young man went to UNN and gave them about, I don't know how many millions, I don't want to quote people out of context, but he was just doing that to assist some lecturers, some professors, because they had no skill. They had no other thing doing except that they are academic, they are just carrying their certificates. Do you understand? So,
Yeah.
but today we're talking about somebody can still have the certificate, somebody can still be a professor, somebody can still be an academic doctor, but have some other high side hustles. You see, because an Igbo adage said that ọkwa so ụmụ ya ịtụrụ ji ịtụrụ mgbọrọgwụ maka mbọsị ji na-adọrọ ewe mgbọrọgwụ na-manage, so
That's
so
that's right.
that is what we have today. Let's have a little background of your academics, like
Yes.
academic
So
background.
yes, so I totally agree with you, and I think that's a very powerful Igbo adage. You cannot put all your eggs in one basket. That's one way it is said in English. Of course, my academic background, I have a doctorate in healthcare management. And before, prior to that, I did do the human resources administration. So it's really all administration and management. For my master's, I did that. And I can tell you, building in layers in the academic field has helped me understand that if you have a long-term goal in academia, you want to get a PhD in something in particular, you need to have some smaller goals if you need to work and sustain yourself. Sometimes it takes so long that you don't have a way to pay your bills before you get to the end of whatever it is that you're pursuing. And sometimes you find that getting that certificate is wonderful, but at the same time, you need other skills to sustain you. You can't just depend on certificate nowadays. You have to have some practical skills and you have to have practical ways to apply it. Because really, in my field, I can tell you that in academia, the main thing in academia is research. You research, and publications. But as for teaching and all of that, there's a lot of engagements to speak, maybe teaching in the classroom, teaching in a particular setting. Sometimes it may not always meet up the financial aspect of what you may be looking at if you want to get into academia. So that you have to be able to use the knowledge that you gain in practical ways. I think that's what I would say. And that has been my experience being in this field.
Okay, so that's good, but I want to take you to a place that whenever people come here, in order to encourage our viewers and to encourage what we call intergenerational conversation, we try to take people to one or two places of their beginning to
Yes,
share the story that gave birth to their glory. So
yes,
if you touch some other artist, they will tell you, some other celebrities like you, they will say, I was a barber. The other one say, I sold my. The other one say, I had no house, I had no place to put my head. The other one say this, the other one say that. So, and there are all stories that give birth to the glory. So we want you to share um, the stories, how you started from Nigeria as your original nationality, how you navigated, how you lived in Ghana. what you saw in Rwanda, then as a Pan-African, and now you're in US. And
Wow.
yeah. I would want you to share that.
Well, that's a lot. I must say, first of all, that I'm hybrid. I don't consider myself that, okay, I'm in the US and that's it. So I'm partially in Africa, partially in the US. I spent half and half time. And just like you said, there is a journey and there's a story behind that. Okay, before my situation now where I'm also teaching in academia, as you can see, I'm in my environment here. There's been a long journey to it. When we talk about intergenerational, we're thinking about Gen Z, millennials. Well, you know what? I'm going to surprise you guys. I am a millennial myself. I am not, I'm in between. So I'm not, the much older generations, but I'm also not a Gen Z, right? The thing is this, I hear a lot of things about, people who are not focused, maybe don't have the resilience because they used to have it back in the day. But there's a lot of hardships and challenges that a lot of people are overcoming through the generations, including millennials. And I'm sure there's a lot of Gen Zs that are very, very strong and able to have some resilience in situations. I didn't start out with a silver spoon in my mouth. My parents, have 7 children. I'm one of 7 children. So my father was a lecturer, and back then, if you were not a full professor, your salary is very, very limited. So, he used to teach at the Imo State University when it was in Etiti campus. I was an infant pretty much. And then it moved to Okigwe campus now. And, that back then we moved over to Owerri. And I really remember a lot of my childhood in Owerri. So my mother at the time, she was not working and she really tried her hand in catering. So she would make meat pies. Where I come from, there's a lot of fish in Igbo land. The kind of fish you have on the big sticks. And Afipo area, they get a lot of those kind of fish. So now I was the fish girl. I would carry the fish on my head and I would go through the neighborhood selling fish, right? That is something a lot of people may not be able to relate to now, but in other ways as well, like I said earlier, maybe people are selling moi moi, helping after school with or selling oranges, whatever it is. So that's something that I've experienced. I also used to go to farm. We had a lot of gardens around us. And so in the holiday season, when people say, I'm going to holidays in Lagos, I'm going to Abuja and all of this. So I would spend my holidays a lot of times helping out on the farm. We had maids and we had helpers, but I was always there. I knew how to fry cassava, go grind it, peel it, tie it in the bags, let the water go out, sieve it, and then fry it in the big African pans with the smoky wood under and so forth. But it's been a really great experience for me to understand how to work, how to set goals and plan and wait patiently to get to what I want to do. Um, Gradually, my father traveled out and then he got his PhD. He went to do a master's in the University of Seattle, came to US, did a PhD. And then eventually I was lucky to be able to come to US through him, but on a student visa. So what happened was, of course, I'm in academia, and this is how I found myself in academia, is that in order to maintain a student visa and maintain a status in the United States, I had to study because I came on a student visa. And so for quite a while, I didn't have what we call the green card, citizenship, and all these things. But I was a provost scholar, Board of Governors scholar, and then I was the first president of the Pan-African Students Association at Indiana University in Pennsylvania. And so I got to know a little bit more about Ghana because the story of how did I get to go to Ghana and all of this, through our professor then, who was the head of Department of Philosophy, Reverend Dr. Kwasi Irenchi Adanian. He was a professor emeritus and really inspired me in different ways. The African American Cultural Center also, and a sorority in the United States, gave me scholarship. And I really helped to bridge that gap at that time in understanding between, let's say, the Africans coming in right away for a work permit, Africans coming from Burundi, Rwanda, all over the African continent, Kenya, and all of that, and also African Americans. And then there I had Jamaicans also who were serving in my organization. It was such a rich experience for me, and I think that is how I got to become Pan-African in my outlook. Because getting invited to all the different events by the different groups from different African countries, it opened my eyes a lot, and I learned how to speak French, which I speak fluently. I speak Igbo fluently, and of course different dialects, a little bit of Zulu, a little bit of Swahili, a little bit of Chui, which is a Ghanaian language. And of course, Swahili is spoken also in Rwanda, and as well as French and across other African countries. So I spent about 3.5 years in Ghana recently, came back to the US a few months ago. And I did that really to help my children. I have a child that had a bit of a speech delay, and these are all the things that we're talking about today, balancing everything from family to career to other areas of life. And then I went through Rwanda. Really, music is what took me also to Rwanda, because I'm a recording artist. I write songs, I record music, I make music videos, and I've won quite a few awards from all of that. So some of my music that was featured in an event in Kigali, Rwanda, and sponsored by the Rotarian group of Karimbi district over there, and with the mayor of Kigali and so many other dignitaries coming. So this kind of took me through Rwanda. Um, you know, uh, they played it, and I attended later. I couldn't make the main event, but I did go to Rwanda after, and I spent time in Ghana, really working on the music, helping out family, and I think that's my journey. There's a lot more to it, of course, with my book publishing and all of that, but I would really just summarize it that way.
That's awesome. Now, I want to give you opportunity. I know you want to share some of these things. Have you shared it in your Facebook? Okay, because I've seen some people. I've seen John Braden, Bertrand, and some other people. So I just come in. Hope I didn't come late. Yeah, you didn't. You are not late at all. Yeah. So my people, if you watch the screen, you will see we have 239 people watching. If you look at the screen, you will see it. We have 239 people watching from different parts of the world. So what we are saying today is is a great pleasure having you. And just like we said, you have given us your background, and so that people will not just think that Honorable Dr. Mrs. Mercy Ngozi Alu just fell down from heaven and became an academic doctor and became this and that and that. Yes, you are an academic. You are a very qualified one that have gone around and experienced multilinguistic person, but you came up with idea of songwriting and music production. In fact, a musician. Because when I researched about you, I just discovered that the national TV in US in July, I cannot remember the particular date, was playing your music. So they played your music on the national television in US. So you know what that means. You
Yes.
understand? So how did you venture into music, and what gave you the drive, despite your very, very loud certificate as an academic?
Yes. Thank you for that question, and I do apologize to you, Mr. Chinedu. I just got a notification. The Ambassadors Forum and the other Facebook forum, one of my editors has something on it that we have a couple of restrictions. I don't know if everybody is able to join the live at the moment. So maybe one of the pages it has joined, and the other ones I have to take a look at what's going on. So, but get into your
No,
question.
they can join the live. Have you shared the live to all the pages?
Yes, I did, but I got a notification that there's a bit of a restriction that just went on to one of them. I think there's something that one of the editors put up that they removed. I have to see what that was. But the restriction is more of usually it takes a couple of days to be able to go live. You see what I mean on the page. So I don't know which of the pages is able to join live. I think one or two probably can, but I will double check on all of that in a second. So and answering your question. So my name in my native dialect in Afikpo, which is Igbo land in Ebonyi State, is Ogeri. And they would say, my grandmother would say, my late grandmother, Ogeri Bogo Onyaja. So lady of song and dance. So when I was very young, they know me for standing by the Amorongo market area, standing where people would pass by, and I would say, Mama Ngoro Gegu, I want to sing for you. And I would get these inspirations of these songs that I don't even know where they were coming from, and I would just enjoy singing, making up songs. When we were in Owerri, every Christmas time, I would take neighborhood kids around with me, knocking on doors. We would sing songs. I would teach them different songs and we would sing, and they would give us either Christmas rice or a little money or something. So music has always been in me. I was really more of I would say, an artist right from when I was very young than academic or anything else. And so the creativity really stems from music. But again, I believe that creativity is one, but it can have different forms of expression. For example, my writing and authorship, that's another way of expression. I would definitely encourage everybody to be creative in some way. There's something everybody has that they can do that is unique to them. You don't even have to be an artist. It could just be something unique about the way that wear your brand as a teacher, or as a nurse, as a doctor, whatever it is that you do. There is a footprint that nobody else has that you have. So coming back to how I got more into music, as I was growing up, there's a primary school called Ikenebu Girls. Well, not Ikenebu Girls. I went to a girls' secondary school, but Ikenebu primary school, in Owerri. I think it's close to where they call Aladimma. It's a beautiful school and a lot of wonderful alumni. So I was selected to, be one of the leaders for what they would call Aleja dance, Ebu Owerri. So you shake your waist, it was quite fun. And then we had some different types of TV shows then that were hosted on Imo Broadcasting Corporation. So they were radio shows that people could listen to. And I was selected to be moderator for one of them for my school. And I found myself getting selected even in secondary school to either be part of the debating society and just kind of lead some of those debates. But also I had to, do some songwriting for a couple of clubs. Now, there's a story I want to tell about that. There's a club they call the Drug Free Club. I don't know why the name or where it came from, but they were trying to teach us as youth that we should stay away from those kinds of vices, marijuana and whatever not, back in the day when we used to do those kind of ads and all that. And so the school asked me to write a song. Now, I've written over 200 songs. I've recorded quite a few, but I remember every single one of them for whatever reason, even the ones I wrote when I was like, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. So the Drug Free Club song in the secondary school, I went to Bishop Lasby Girls Secondary School. And prior to then, I had been sent to Air Force Girls Military School in Jos, but had to return back to Owerri and continued at the other school. And so when I wrote that song, someone told me something. You have to record. You have a gift to record and to be a singer. Now, it kind of hit home then because I was young. I wasn't even thinking in that direction. I knew I loved singing, but I didn't realize the potential. And then I had an English teacher that came from Bauchi State. She's an Igbo lady, but she was in Bauchi before. And she said, "Your name is Ngozi Alu?" I said, "Yes." She said, "I read your poem. I wrote your poem in a newspaper." And I realized that, oh, one of my published poems went that far. And then the Drug Free Club song, I mean, the seniors, they would call me, "Come and sing for us." And I would sing some of the songs I couldn't sing very well, like Whitney Houston songs. And then I was so young then, but the song Even Chaka Chaka had called Ngozi just came out a little bit before I learned about it. And then they say, come and sing it for us. So these are the people that kept pushing me in music and making me understand they really wanted to hear me sing. And I'm telling you, Drug Free Club, they say, come sing that song again. You know what the song sounds like? And if you excuse me 1 minute, I want to give my viewers just a little piece of what that song sounds like. Imagine in 1990, I think it was 1992, or between 1990 and 1992. And yeah, I think it was 1992 or thereabouts. Okay, pardon me, give or take. And the song went like this. We are standing here today in the name of Drug Free Club. We want to stand with those who fight for all the country to be free. Free from cocaine, free from heroin, free from marijuana, free from all the drugs that hold us back from progressing in our land. We are standing here today in the name of Drug Free Club. We want to help our fatherland to say goodbye to drug abuse. We are the future generation. We are the hope of our land. We want to help our fatherland to say goodbye to drug abuse. Nigeria is supposed to be the giant of Africa. But how can we achieve this goal if we say yes to drug abuse? We say goodbye to drug abuse. We say goodbye to drug abuse. And we have risen in one accord to say goodbye to drug abuse. And we are standing here today in the name of Drug Free Club. You want to want to help our fatherland to say goodbye to drug abuse. We are the future generation. We are the hope of our land. We want to help our fatherland to say goodbye to drug abuse. Now, I haven't had any water to drink all day, but I wanted you to hear the tune of this song from 1992. And that is what led to a lot of people encouraging me in music. And then I came to US, and then I was hosted on Voice of America. And then I got calls that, your music is playing in Darfur, Sudan on the radio and in other places. And then I had to continue because people really liked my songwriting, my music, and encouraged it. And I've won a lot of awards since then. So that's the summary of that. Quite a piece there. So yeah.
That's very interesting. At least people will know that really this is a musician, because without taking water, myself, I've not even singing, but I'm drinking.
And I'm talking, and it's not the best practice when you don't drink water and you don't warm up and you're just talking and you suddenly start singing. But I just wanted to share a little bit of that tune to see this is what was going on in 1992 as a very young girl who was barely out of primary school, and this is what I wrote. I don't know how I could get the keys and the notes and everything, but it's just something that God gave me the gift to do.
So yeah, from your explanation, I can conclude, or I can say that it is a natural gift to you, because at that period, at that time, you don't even have idea of the technicalities, the key, the off key, and the on key, and whatever. But you were able to put up something. But there's something unique about this thing. You centered on Africa. You centered on Nigeria as the giant of Africa, and how we could go forward. Because I listened to you. So I listened to the lyrics, and that was wonderful of you. So this is how Dr. Mercy Ngozi Alu joined and developed her music career despite her academics. So this honorable attached to your name everywhere. So how did it come?
Yes, well, thank you for that question. And yes, and you know what? Not backtracking, but just to let you know that the rhetoric of the day then definitely shines through the song that I just shared. And of course, I have songs about other African countries or events, and songs in other languages, as well as some of the Hollywood and African Professional Awards, Peace Song Awards that tie to UN symbolism, and that goes in with this honorable that I want to explain. And of course, an Intercontinental Music Awards, which I would definitely later on, I want to encourage people who are artistically inclined and also people who would want to get into authorship. A couple of things I would like to say about that. But in answering your question, so the honorable title is from, there's an organization called Global International. They are a partner with the United Nations on some of the sustainable development goals that are set for Africa. And so what they do is when they appoint a goodwill ambassador, it is someone who is somehow in the public space doing something. So it can be music, it can be sports, it can be visual arts, it can be dance, it can be anything. As long as they are, in the public space, maybe they have some kind of resume in that direction. Maybe they have some well-recognized awards or whatever it is to their merit. And so the honorable title is actually trademarked. So it is trademarked where it's not giving just to anybody. It is part of being appointed a goodwill ambassador. And I am part of the group, which is the UN, Ambassadors Forum. There's a forum on Facebook. I'm part of the Goodwill Ambassadors Forum, if I correct that. And so how I serve is really through my work, through my music. When there is an organization, for example, the Marcus Garvey organization in Ghana had an event and they had a lot of the ambassadors, including the one from, I think it was South Africa and some other places present. So it was just an event that someone was working on a charity program. But when I came and I sang as the featured artist, some of those clips and images and the songs that I rendered and all of that went in to help that organization promote whatever their vision for their organization was. So let's say if they're doing fundraising or they just wanted to feature me on their website, things like that. So that they would put my image and then they would, stamp the Marcus Garvey Foundation or whatever foundation it was to indicate that they had this featured artist that also is part of whatever cause they are trying to raise the funds for. Also, so that's just an example. But in representing through my writing, for instance, I have a book that was published. It's online. It's in Barnes and Nobles. If you Google my name, Mercy Alu or Mercy Ngozi Alu, you'll get a lot of material. Both in music and with writing. And so, in publishing some of my works, I have negotiated with a couple of agencies and book publishing houses. I have a couple of books that are actually late to be released because I got so busy last year, I did not conclude on some of those things. But what I would like to really point out is that when you stay focused on what you want to accomplish, you can do this and do even more than that. I think the honorable title, it sounds, I don't know, a little bit political. I get some people coming on Facebook and saying, hey, you know what? There's no water, there's no light. I had some Ghanaians do that. And they said, and you're just wearing the honorable title, sitting there, and you're not changing things. And I responded. I think this was while I was living in Ghana. I had some remarks that came up under my on my wall and in some comment section. So, and I said, this is not a political honorable title. I'm not a justice in in one of the lawmaker panels or something like that. So the honorable title can be for a goodwill ambassador, like I described, affiliated with UN objectives. UNICEF also has some honorables out there, and goodwill ambassadors can be for both public and private entities, and they can be for different purposes. I'll give one example. There's someone called Jennifer, I think Aniston, people know in the US as an actress, and she is a goodwill ambassador. There are a lot of people who are goodwill ambassadors and who may or may not wear that honorable title. It's not necessarily a, well, I would say it's more like a volunteer type of role, actually, because you get an appointment, but then you use your status to represent it. So I think I've said enough about the honorable title. That's quite a handful. Yes,
So that's good. It's all about what it means to be honorable is that you have to be honorable.
that's it.
And that
That,
is even the real honorable.
that,
Not
that,
this kind of honorable who had. You heard what the doctor in Canada, the doctor in Canada was revealing to Nigeria that a minister who is not up to 1 year in the office has already purchased 4 houses and was asking him to help him get the fifth house, I think the fifth or the fourth house in Canada. You understand? Somebody who just got into appointment not up to 1 year. So that's the kind of people we say they are honorable. And they are not honorable. They are not. So I think the real honorable are those who went into the society, who were in the society to impact lives
that's
and
right.
institute
Positively.
positive changes.
That's right.
If you're one of them. So
Thank
God
you.
bless the organization that gave you honorable
Thank
and bless
you.
you too for consolidating and sustaining the honorableship.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And corruption is global. I just discovered that. Just the example you gave, it's everywhere. It's
Yeah.
not only Nigeria, it's everywhere. Even the Philippines, all of Africa. It's incredible the news that we hear. Yes.
Okay. What's the highest challenges you had while trying to simultaneously carry these different careers and skills? Because
Yes,
sometimes people will just say, a rolling stone gathers no, or this thing and this thing, as if you are into anything, but you are into everything, but you are into nothing. But I have really seen, for example, for myself, I've seen people who are into everything and they are gaining everything. So I don't know where you belong to, but I know from judging from the little research I've made about you, you have always done justice to whichever career you have laid your hand on. But what was the most challenging situation you think you have experienced while simultaneously carrying all these things?
yes.
Mm.
Okay, you know what? To address what you just said, in a couple of quick layers, is first of all, there's something called giftedness. When people are gifted, it's not the same as people who only want to do one thing. Let's say you're an accountant. When there's no more accounting, then it's difficult to recreate yourself and find other ways to use your skill sets. When people are gifted, there is something I would call, in my own term, I would call a an anchor role. So the anchor role is what you do in order to get that foundational money that kind of pays the bills and keeps things going while you actually look at other ways that you can express your gifts. In today's world, okay, everybody is somehow doing more than one thing. Sometimes even if though they don't realize it, but some people are definitely a stickler that, okay, I read accounting and it has to be just that. But if you really look around the world today, you don't just depend on an academic career. You have to have a trade or a skill set, something that you know how to do, a handiwork. That is what I would recommend to everybody. It doesn't matter if you know how to braid hair or you know how to cook. You never know when you will need those skills. And so you have to have a mindset of actually employing yourself, not just being employed by someone. And so I don't believe that when we say a rolling stone and so forth, it's if you dabble into this and you kind of dabble into that and you dabble into the next thing, but you are not really to be, tied with anything in particular. Now that would be a rolling stone. Now, putting that aside, if you really take a good look, a lot of people who are doing something, even in Nigeria, we see Dangote is very rich. He has not just one thing, he has so many other things that he ventures into, different types of businesses. You see some of the people who have made it in, let's say, maybe technology or whatever it is. But then okay, this person is also an actor, and like not Schwarzenegger. Okay, he was a governor, he was an actor, and he went into this and that. So when we think like that, we have an expansive mindset that allows us to bring out the best in what we have. Now, I don't know, not everybody's a Christian that's listening, so I respect everybody's beliefs, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of a quote from scripture that said, whatever your hand find to do it with all your might, right? And then you don't put all everything in one thing. If it's this, then you go with that. There's different seasons in this world. So sometimes there are certificate, like I read nursing too. I don't know, I didn't even mention that. When I came to the United States, I did study nursing in order for me to also at some point help myself going to get my master's and other things. I started out not having a work permit, but as soon as I got it, despite being provost scholar and all that, while waiting to get into grad school, I read some nursing so that whenever I don't feel like going to that 9 to 5, I don't want to teach, I want to take a total break, and I only want to work maybe once a week, twice a week, just to do a project, I can work in nursing. Now, what does this help me with? It helps me to be, a little bit free, a little bit flexible. I want to live in Africa. Hey, I'm teaching online. Move there. Once we have internet, I can work from there. So that's the kind of freedom I think that I have experienced. Now, I really would like you to get back again to the question that you asked me, because I've addressed one aspect of what you said, and there's another aspect. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. You said the challenge that I've had. Okay, so along the way, in the whole process, I'm going to tell you the challenge that I've had is people. And I'm sorry to say this, we learn every single subject in school. We don't learn enough about people. If we are going to live among people, work among people, practice whatever our skill sets are among people, we have to understand people. Well, we may not fully understand, but we have to study people, because when you're not, I don't want to say street smart, right? There's something called street smarts, but a lot of people who are, especially in academia, okay, whatever the subject is, even if it's just, we go to primary, we go to secondary, we go to the university, people are so focused on doing the right things, the expected things, and they forget that when you're done, you're going to practice among people. So the challenge that I have had in that aspect is learning how to say no and when to say no. When you're gifted, you have a lot of different skill sets. People don't think you need anything. People don't think you need any kind of encouragement. Maybe you need a little bit of help. You have, I don't know, I have 3 kids, but you need a little bit of help with something. Now, if my kid, because we've overcome a couple of special needs and all of that, I've also helped other people and say, this is what I used for my son, and he's talking perfectly now. Try this essential oil, try this or that, right? But these are journeys and these are challenges and battles that we face in life, and we keep going. One of the things that I know I've never done is expect other people to solve all my problems or even blame them for it or put it on them. Now, people ask me for help along the way, okay? And then they think, oh, you're fine, you're doing great. So not only to solve the problem that they have, it could be anything. It could be, I need to pay my mother's hospital bill, which is fine. But then when it comes to my kids, also, they need their school fees paid. Well, I also want to be this or do that. Make me be a nurse, make me be a teacher, make me be this or that. You can send money. Okay, I want to open a business. You send money, they eat the money. Yeah, something came up last time. I didn't use it for that business, so I still need a little more. You send it again. Guess what? It goes. And then the next time, oh, you're there enjoying. Look at me. They sent my child from school. They did this and that. So when I'm helping people and I'm not holding them accountable to also help themselves, it can be draining. And this has been a challenge I faced. The other challenge was just kind of getting everything put on me when I find myself in situations or dealing with people, which is, oh, she's fine. She can handle this, and that. And sometimes you step in to help someone who is going through a lesson. You don't know what they're running from, what bad stuff they've done, what God wants them to learn, what punishment they're going through. And so you render the help, and then whatever was fighting them starts fighting you. And that is exactly something that I've experienced, I'd say 3 major times, which I'm finally sort of fully recovering from. I'm still on that. But these are key lessons in my life that I would never forget. You have to know, even if you're kind hearted, if you want to help, if you want to make society a better place, if you are good at enduring challenges and you don't tell other people what they are, so they think everything is perfect, and then they put all their challenges on you, and at some point even blame you for it. You know what? We've got to get a scapegoat, someone that we're going to transfer aggression to. Hey, this is not going well. Look at her. Her skin is bright. She's living in America. She's traveled out before. So you know what? Yeah, they are the people that makes us hungry. That's why we haven't done this or done that. You can have the same exact opportunity like people I've met in the US also, and just don't make use of it. People's behavior, their character, their personality, their choices, all of these things do affect whatever experience they may be having. And if you step in to help, you need to be sure that you are supposed to help and that you can help. And you have to understand and limit the help to what you actually can do without sacrificing your own well being in the process.
I think that is a very serious problem, especially when it comes to Africa.
Yeah.
So some people call it entitlement, the feeling of entitlement. You know, so nobody thinks that you have something to do. All that they think is that you are there to solve their problem, and it's a big issue. So I know a lot of people in America, Europe, and different parts of the world outside Nigeria, those who have opportunity to have relocated to the Western countries, they suffer same. So people in Africa believe that maybe there's a dollar tree here where you get money and you are expected to do everything, just like the examples you gave.
Can
You see money from somebody, you will use it because you believe that he will still ask for more.
I'm so sorry to jump in. I just want to mention something when you said people outside of Africa. Do you know something I discovered being in Ghana? Anything that is outside Nigeria, I don't know if we are maybe on another level of that, but a lot of people actually think once you've stepped out, even to Ghana, you've got some money. You've got, you can help with a lot of things because you've traveled out. And it could be even to Cameroon or Ghana. I don't know if this is just me noticing that, but I thought it was just when you're in an overseas country like Western world. But it turns out for us Nigerians that live in Nigeria, everything is abroad somehow.
Yeah, but the same thing happens in Ghana and some other African countries. And I'm close to some Ghanaians and some other people from Kenya. And so it's just the same thing. It's
Yeah.
just the same thing. You know, there's this entitlement spirit that whenever you are here, you are bound to take care of everything, you know, especially those things at home. To the extent, some people get lazy just because they have somebody here. Just as you rightly said, you save money for somebody to do something. You say, okay, some other thing came up, I didn't do it. He's still requesting for the same money. So because he feels entitled. So that was what pushed. There was a time. I'm not trying to justify his speech, but there was a time Mikel Obi. He granted. He went to one podcast or an interview, and he said certain things about Africans, being so entitled, feeling the sense of entitlement. That some of them, just because they have somebody abroad, they will get so lazy and start bearing children and doing a lot of things, shifting the responsibility to your head. So, but that's good. So, what did you nurse up? What was the idea or the tactics that you used to navigate across this challenge?
The tactic I used is well, I don't think I've been the wisest person in that area because it took me several experiences to finally recently, as recent as I don't know, maybe last year, to go back to my original philosophy, which is, you know, if you really want to make it to something, sometimes you have to go alone. I remember when I watched that Shaka Zulu movie where he said something like, whoever makes the journey to the stars or to the heavens or something goes alone. It was a very profound statement like that. And I never really fully understood it. And then I remember studying, British history in school in one of the classes or something. And they said that at some point there's something they implemented called splendid isolation, which is really just being within and building their own type of, brand and how they're going to navigate colonizing these countries and other types of things. And also Japan, being an island, that wasn't even keen on foreign things for quite a long time, and they really developed themselves and developed their culture and their authenticity and their products and everything else. So I realized that all of this actually can apply to an individual, where if you don't spend enough time knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and thinking about your needs, you can give out so much of yourself that you don't even have much left. And then you can become what they call a masochist. I have an accent in English, and that's pretty much saying someone who really just endures punishment. We have a saying in our Igbo language, in Afiko language, it's like you cover somebody else's belly while you uncover your own. So then that means you are vulnerable. You're vulnerable to any kind of attack because that's a very soft area. So it's really just saying that in helping other people, sometimes we are not helping ourselves. I got so drained, I got so fatigued. And I also realized something. I was listening to people a lot. You cannot please people. You cannot please people in every way. Mr. Chinedu, I remember you saying something like that to me recently, a little bit of a remark in some of these things. I was just thinking about the idea of people pleasing. Sometimes we don't even know we are doing that. Someone called me yesterday and said, please, can you borrow me some money? I really need to pay some bills. I never do this, but I just couldn't say no to family. So many people have been asking me for different things. So I had to help this, I have to help that. So please, if you give me borrow me some money, he didn't say borrow, he said if I can give, then I will be very, very grateful and I will highly appreciate it. Now, that sounds wonderful, but guess what? In the midst of all of that, that individual will not lose out because guess what? They will get their money back from me. But then, all the family members he couldn't say, no to, then they are okay. Maybe he's okay. This is a wonderful person I'm talking about, and this is the only person I would do that for. If I have it, I would do that for him because, he doesn't take people for granted, and he's done a lot for me also. But I'm using this as an example of how life works in this aspect. There is no action that goes without some kind of a consequence. A lot of different times, people are going through challenges they created themselves, either by their choices, their actions, or lack of action. I realized that to navigate this, I have to kind of pause a little bit and think about that knee-jerk reaction that I usually have when I feel sorry and I just feel so compassionate and I have so much empathy. That's the opposite of what a lot of people have. I've realized a lot of people do not have empathy. It's hard for them to understand what you're going through because putting themselves in your shoe is hard. But I had the opposite problem. I would feel so strongly what other people were going through. And so before thinking, then I go, oh, what happened? The more you tell me your story, the more I'm ready to cry with you. Before you know it, I've gone into this account, I've gone into that account, you see. So one of the techniques I've applied is to pause a little bit. Practice a little bit of that, what I said earlier, splendid isolation, right? You take some time out to know yourself, take some time out to kind of look at what you want to do in the next 2 years. What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? Now, is helping this person going to take me further away from those goals or closer to it? Do I just feel like I'm moved to help this person, or do I feel pressured? Am I doing it for a reason that is subconscious? Maybe I just want to be praised. Maybe I just want to say, in your time of need, I didn't say no. You see, it should be because it's something that you have evaluated and you really want to do. So these are some of the techniques that I'm using now, and it's really helping me in this area. It also helps me to be compassionate to myself. I don't have to tell everybody, whenever my child has a tantrum or they're not feeling so good, I have to get, the speech therapy or uh, physical therapy or other kinds of therapies and go here, go there. I don't have to say all these things. I have to know when I have my hands full. If I'm supposed to serve on this board, that board, help this one with this, help that one fundraise, do this or that, I can say no. Maybe not right now. If you feel too bad to say no, just say not right now, because you can visually see all the things you are dealing with, that you have to do. So you don't have to put them aside and get further behind your timetable in trying to help everybody else out. So I hope I made a few points that could be helpful to
Yeah,
someone.
you did. You did. That's good. That's good. Because the problem is not just discovering the issue is not just discovering a problem, but the ability to nurse up an idea or a strategy that will help you navigate across such challenges. And you have just done perfectly well. Just like yesterday when we were discussing, I was telling you that it is good or at a time one has to shift. You need to shift your navigation, your arrowhead to introspectively. Try to look at yourself. So it's not just being selfish. You want to look at yourself because the truth is that if you're the source of the help, if you are the source of sustenance, even in the family, and you were unable to build yourself well, you will dry up. And when you dry up, everybody suffers. Both those people you want to help and both yourself.
That's
But
right.
so sometimes you need to take a break from the pressure coming from demands to be able to build yourself. Because if you did not build, and while you're building yourself, a lot of people have to say a lot of things. So you have to develop a thick skin. That's a justice. You develop a thick skin because you're focused. There's a video I just did. Prince Modo, official, how are you doing? How are you doing? So there's a top one of our top high life musicians too.
Nice.
So what I'm saying is that while you are building yourself, you need to be serious about it, and you need to be indifferent to some calumnies, some sort of dragging. Like there's a video I put out recently. I I said be focused. That's focus. That's the thing. I said despite distractions. Let me tell you. You see, each time you want to undertake things that you know where it's taking you to, you have a vision. You are the one that God revealed the vision to. You are the vision bearer. Nobody had the vision with you. So don't expect that you have validation from somebody who didn't have the same vision. God did not reveal it into all of you, He revealed to you. So you are the one that is going to make sure that you put to bed whatever idea God has placed in your heart as a vision. So if you want or wait for validation from people, you can lose it. So what you do is that you are the one who knows God said in 5 years, do this, do this. You're going, you're going. Let me tell you, Professor Abba from Illinois too, there's a professor of research professor on what do you call it, prostate cancer from Nigeria, one of our best hands. So he's in Illinois. He has been in this show, Professor Abba. So he told me that whenever you want to pursue things that others don't understand, that it is meant to be unreasonable, in parentheses. Every other person sees you to be unreasonable. Some will see you to be wicked. You are trying to finance when you are abroad. You are trying to make yourself, they don't know. Maybe you perpetuate your stay in 9 to 5, just trying getting to pay your bills and do this and do that, and be sending small, small money to those at home. When you want to venture into things like establishing some companies here of LLC and begin to do some business that will attract money.
Yes.
At a time, you might access loan. Nobody will know that you are under a loan.
That's true.
And people, you access the loan, and people are still asking you for money. They don't know that you have a loan you're paying, and you cannot come to the whole world and explain what you are passing through. So, what you need to do is that once you are convinced, internally convinced, that this process is genuine and this is for my interest and for the interest of those who are dependent on me within a time, come on, you just have to develop a deaf ear,
Yes.
because a lot of people can call you different names.
That's true.
Yes, but you need to develop a kind of thick skin. That's what I call it. There's somebody I served when I was younger. He's now the senator of Enugu North Senatorial District, a serving senator. I worked with him. Okay, he said, Chinedu, develop a thick skin when you are convinced about where you are heading to. Sorry about that. So when you are convinced about where you are going, when you are convinced of what you are planning, nobody is planning it with you. Nobody has the same vision.
That's right.
So what you need to do is develop a thick skin and focus. You see, I'm happy that you have passed through this and you were able, because they say experience is the best teacher.
It's the best teacher.
Sometimes when we come as coaches, mindset coaches, and we start teaching people this, it will look as if we are just making an empty statement. But when you experience it, you will know what it means to be under the choking finger of dependency. People
Yes.
are dependent on you, and not just that they are dependent on you with reason or rationally dependent on you, they are irrationally dependent on you.
Can
Because if
I
you
add a
see the
little?
kind of demand they make and the
Yes.
way they make the demand and their reaction when you give excuses, you see that you have a problem.
Exactly. You know what? I just want to piggyback a little on that. Also, time. I noticed that because we're talking about balancing, different things. Sometimes I notice even time is very, very precious. You can't get your time back. And sometimes, different organizations and different people want you to do different things for them. Sometimes you have, can you help do this? Can you chair in this committee? Can you be part of this? Can you be part of that? And it can be hard to say no to different things, especially if they can also benefit you in some way. So sometimes we have competing interests or we have so many different things to do at a time. I find this to be especially a challenge in the United States, more so than in Africa, because every minute of the day there's something to do and there's a lot that never got done. So that even going to bed at night becomes something one can feel guilty about because you haven't finished this, you haven't finished that, you haven't finished that. And I've learned to really step back and just prioritize. Sometimes you cannot accept every kind of appointment. You cannot serve on every committee. You cannot help with every objective. You just do the one you can do, and some of them you just have to let go. I think that is one thing I would say too, to add to what you.
Yeah, you see, when it comes to organizations, when you are in so many organizations and serving them and doing all those things, and do you know at a time it might start affecting your own family.
Yes, you have to select the ones. That's why I'm very selective.
Yeah,
I have
it
just
has
who I
to,
serve
it will
with.
start affecting your own family.
Yes.
So you cannot be serving organizations so much that even your own self, you don't have time for your own self.
No,
You
you
don't
have
have
to
time
give
for
them
your own
everything.
health. You
Yes.
don't even go for vacation. You don't even take a break just because you are burning out.
Yes.
So it's not about that somebody is not being selfish, but what it is that somebody needs to look inward at a time.
That's
Every
right.
time you cannot be looking outward. Every
That's
time you cannot be outgoing at a time. Even vehicles that we drive, they have a reverse gear. So
that's
sometimes you pull reverse and say, okay, let me know. Even in the military, that's
exactly.
what they call cautionary word of command. After saying do this, the commander, he will say, in case ground is untenable, tactically withdraw.
That's
to the
right.
alternative. There's always an alternative RFD.
That's right.
There's always a fallback position. Do you understand? So people need
Exactly.
to fall back at a time, have a retreat, have a personal retreat, you know, reinvigorate or rejuvenate
Exactly.
yourself.
Rejuvenate themselves. Exactly.
But that's life for
They
you.
have energy.
That's life for
Exactly.
you.
Exactly.
So thank you for that, and thank you
That's
for that
awesome.
very wise way of explaining these challenges. Yes, I want to take you to um, International Association of African Scholars,
African authors and scholars.
African Authors and Scholars.
Yes.
Yes. So, of which I think, what is this organization all about? And what's your position? And
Yes. So
what do you think? How does it affect, how does it impact positively on the society, especially
yes.
the African society?
Yes, I think the International Association of African Authors and Scholars is an organization that has a huge potential. Um, a lot has been done to really support authors, create a forum for authors to come together, support one another, learn about techniques for writing, how to publish, discuss their writing, discuss their work, support education in some countries like, Nigeria, like Uganda, the Gambia, and all of that. And there are coordinators in different countries, including Rwanda as well. And the headquarter of the organization is in Atlanta, USA. I really believe that this organization is necessary because there are a lot of Africans, whether students, whether professors, whether people who are not even in academia, who are just creative. There are a lot of people who have great ideas, who write, who research. Um, it may not even be an academic writing. It could just be, a book of poetry. It could be anything that someone needs to understand how to get the idea out there. If people need to have their work edited, we throw it to the floor. There are people in the organization who would be able to take it up. If it's a bit of a project. We also have partnered and have worked with the World Writers Association, and also a lot of other local organizations that encourage youth, to learn more about literacy, literacy and technology, just knowledge about how to research, how to write, how to read books. All of these are things that the organization is big on, and also leadership training. There is a leadership institute that the organization has in Nigeria, and we also partner with a museum in Lagos, the Crimdy Museum, where people come to learn a little bit more about Nigerian history and things like that. And there's a library there so that people can explore books and know more about not just current authors, but also some of the literary history of the country. And then we can hold events to also encourage literacy and then go over different subject areas that can be helpful to each community. For instance, there are communities where the issue is that some women maybe need to learn handiwork, different kinds of handiwork. Those are the kinds of trainings we support, because we are also in partnership with the CRIMD, library, and also technology knowledge or education. The world moved online since 2020 when we had COVID. And so people who have not even been comfortable being online suddenly find themselves needing to navigate the world of technology. So this is all part of literacy, and this is something that the International Association of African Authors and Scholars, highly, highly supports. I find the organization to be good with, as a voice. I want to say for African authors, also in general, internationally, because we have a lot of authors in Africa, but having a cohesive organization where we can also bring in opportunities for publishing and in other areas as well. We're still growing, but these are all the things that the organization does. I am executive director of in the area of research. And of course, we combine it, grants and research, but I'm really more research oriented. But I bring up those opportunities and help apply for different types of opportunities for the organization. And serving in this capacity, bringing up suggestions, suggesting people who would come to maybe speak at some of our events. We have summits, also book fairs and things like that in some of the localities. But we are really big on our annual summit that we usually hold. We hold it at different locations. For the last couple of years, it's been mainly in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. But we've also had we have the online capability where people can join online. And we started hosting an online summit for the very first time because of COVID. So we moved our on-ground summit online in 2020. When I suggested this, it was just like, it's not going to be the same, But since then, hey, most of the people in the organization are getting very tech savvy, including myself. So we are growing in, doing a lot of our activities online as well, and including others. And then we have the aspect of training. If someone wants to go through our leadership training, management training, and so forth, we have a lot of professors, doctors, academics in the organization who can host these seminars and who can do these online teaching projects. I certainly would invite people who are interested to join the International Association of African Authors and Scholars to reach out. And I would be, whether you are an author or you're a student or you're a scholar in some way, or you're just interested in these topics. And let me say one last thing. When we talk about writing and authorship, we don't just limit it to books. So because we know that authorship can be in visual arts, it can be in music and songwriting, whoever is a creative that also authors things that make significant impact in the society, things that can be studied in some way for what they contribute, you are certainly welcome. And if you are not doing any of those things and you think you may be interested down the line and you want to learn and be a part of that kind of community, you are certainly welcome. So, and please, I would also like to mention something. Maybe you can ask me this separately about the Intercontinental Music Awards out of Hollywood, California. Okay, I don't know if your mic is a little bit down, but I can't hear you at this time.
I was on mute. I'm sorry about that. So what I'm saying, I said you are a woman who has many facets of career. So so that's why we're taking it one by one. So I just asked you of the challenges, what you think was challenging, and from there we graduated to what International Association of African Authors and Scholars, what it means, and you've told our people. And for those who are authors, both visual and print authors, hard copy media authors, they can join the association because, especially this institution of what you call leadership institution they are trying to build, their purpose is in Nigeria. They have already got land, they have already done a lot of things. So it will soon kick off. Because one of the things we are passing through today in leadership is because the leaders did not receive leadership training.
Yes, and can I just quickly mention that even while we're working on that one, we have a location in Lagos. That location is, in our partnership with the Cream D Museum. There is an address for that location where we can have meetings and do some teachings and trainings. So I can give this information if anyone reaches out. We are registered in Nigeria, the US. We also registered in Gambia, and the organization is pretty strong in different locations as well.
Wow, that's good. So now we'll, I want so to want us to take
Can I mention the ICMA awards?
no, that's what I want to say.
Okay.
I need to present it the way that it will be professional. Like um I want us to see what your achievements in
Okay.
different careers, what
Okay.
you were able to achieve in education,
Okay.
the academics, what were you were able to achieve in the music industry,
Okay.
and some other skills you have taken to yourself. So I wanted to be systematically presented so that even if I want to cut it out and you know
You can
post,
edit different portions as
yeah,
well.
edit it and come
Okay.
out with that piece, it will follow up systematically.
Okay.
So we want you to tell us your achievements because you are propagating or crusading for the tendency to be able to carry things along despite your academic qualification. You can still delve into other skills. So
That's
tell
right.
us the benefits, what you have been able to achieve, so that it will steer others up.
Sure, sure. Yes, so of course, in layers, it's just like climbing stairs. You start from one level, you go to the next. I know a lot of people who maybe it's nice to get things quickly. It's not wrong to want everything fast, but sometimes it doesn't happen like that for everyone. So for me, it did not, and I have kind of built layer by layer. And so I mentioned, having to study nursing a bit. Everybody that comes to the United States or I don't know, UK or Canada, most people would study something in nursing just to kind of start out, and be able to have some footing or pay some basic bills, right? Okay, so what I've been able to accomplish is, my first degree, of course, English and all of that, you can see that that is part of why I can write and research and do all of this stuff. So I published a couple of books. One of the books, Halima, that talks about, the different regions of Africa, I mean Nigeria, and brings up Igbo culture, the wrestling matches, the way we used to live in the villages, education of the girl child, of course, and education of the youth, and why education has become important to us. But at the same time, we shouldn't throw away our culture and our background. So really being able to balance both. And the interesting life we have in Africa, whereby if we try the modern medicine and it doesn't work, sometimes they say try the traditional way. So it's kind of interesting. We still have our herbs and other things that we do. So I have a book that kind of touches on all of that. I have a couple of publications that I think my agent has been waiting for. I couldn't send it. It's been 3 months now, but there's a book called No Longer Apart, and it will be out soon. And then I have a couple of other titles as well, and even the Modern Secret. There's a book like that, which talks about some of the things that one passes through as an immigrant, growing up back home in Africa and then making it here into the Western world and trying to balance both, some of the challenges that come both personally and professionally and so forth. And there's a lot of things that are touched upon, including some of our cultural things where there are things we are also trying to let go of, like within our cultures, and thinking that it's more detrimental than it is helpful. I don't want to touch upon everything here, but it is interesting. So those are some of the things on the writing side. And then actually, let me mention this quickly. So my book Halima was actually referenced and used by an author that is a New York best-selling author with Penguin Random House and all of that. So when I saw my name as one of the reference authors, I went in and checked. Oh, this book, it's referenced and it's doing so well, and I have to get some of that money. So I have to find a way to then bring up additional publications. So I reached out to the agent, and then, of course, she wants to see a little bit more of some of my other work. So I'm looking forward to doing a few things in addition to what I've done very, very soon. I've been so busy with, helping my daughter that was sick, and other family things, and other obligations. But these are things that are important to keep in mind, because when you write well and it can put something in words, it touches lives that people you haven't even met, and it doesn't go away, it doesn't fade, it stays. It is a permanent investment when you can put things down in writing. Now, let me talk about music. I love music, and you can tell that I get excited about that. It is one of my passions. Now, I find that people need an outlet that feeds their soul. When people have a gift in music, they have to use that gift. A lot of people who are not creatives will not understand what I mean, but people who are creative will understand it. When you don't use it, you literally dry out from the inside. When you don't use it, you cannot function, correctly and accurately the way that you are supposed to. So you have to use your gifts. You have to find a way to express yourself in whatever your area is of creativity. So for me, it's music. I have won a few awards. I won I mentioned earlier, the Peace Song Awards. So there is something that was sent by an organization to the UN, and it became one of the symbols of peace.
Oh, please, sorry for taking you back, because I'm picking up this particular place. Um, so you are mentioning your awards.
Yes.
So, which award did you say? Did you just say you won?
Yes, so there's an award called the Peace Song Awards. It used to be called the Global Peace Song Awards, and it is the organization that sent in some kind of they sent in a particular there's a particular sculpture or something like that they sent in for a competition to the UN, and it won a symbol of peace or something like that. So, but the organization that gives the Peace Song Awards, it's out of California also. It looks like a lot of things are out of California, but they selected my song African Queen for that award, and that song also won the Hollywood and African Professional Awards. Was the best up and coming artist at the time, and then another song that won in its category as well. And I got 3 nominations in that particular awards. So that's the HAPA for short. And then the Intercontinental Music Awards. So I won 2 nominations in 2 different categories, and then I won one category, which is Best of Africa. So it's amazing, and I love their plaque that they sent to me. It's beautiful. The Intercontinental Music Awards, and let me just talk about it briefly here. I would encourage artists that want to enter this competition to go ahead. They did make me ambassador of the Intercontinental Music Awards for Africa, basically for Nigeria, for Africa, and that's been about a year now, and I've been able to talk to a lot of different artists across Africa, including some of the South African artists that have entered. And this year we have a lot of nominations, including Congolese artists, South African artists, Pure Gold, Platform One, Juna Mombafu, Big One. That's one of the Congolese artists. And Nono Mazanza used to sing with Awilo. No, Awilo. Oh my goodness, I can't even remember the names of some of these well-known Congolese artists. But there's a guitarist that he used to sing with that is well known. So anyway, my point is that the ICMA Awards is open and it's out there. I would encourage African artists to submit a song. Most of the people who will listen to your music are Hollywood executives in music. Many of them are members of the Recording Academy. We've had a lot of people who went on to win Grammy Award. Eddie Kenzo won a HAPA Award as well. And Wizkid and some of the other artists, even Burna Boy has been on the roster for winning in his category, and also Yemi Alade and so many other people. It's a whole list of different people, and I can send you that later. It's online as well. But those are some of the awards, that I have won with in my music. Yeah.
Wow, that's great achievement. Yeah, congratulations. At
Thank
least
you.
you made us proud. Sometimes you see this life when people are not loud. You might not know what they have been able to achieve. That's why we have to ask you of your achievements and some of the. Okay, apart from all these achievements, which organizations have been able to serve? Um, Organizations, non-governmental, governmental, yeah, where and experience, general experience in different organizations.
Okay, give me 1 second. Can I take a little bit of a break? So I really need to use the bathroom. I'm so sorry. I know I'm in the middle of an interview here. Is it possible? Or we are on air? Or how would it work? Is it possible?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, give me 1 second.
So, my people, you can see you perfectly listen to Dr. Honorable Dr. Mercy Ngozi Alu, and she has been on air for close to 1 hour and now. And what is she teaching us? She's just telling us what it means to also look at other careers when you are an academic. That is not enough that somebody is an academic. You can be an academic, you can be academic, you can be anything, you can, but you need to look at some other things, especially things that are very innate, things that are naturally, or what Nigerians call follow come. You see, she is a PhD holder, an academic, but she is into music. And she has been able to win awards in music. She did not study music. She studied English, she studied nursing, but she's a musician and has gone to win awards, several awards, you understand, in music. So she speaks like a white woman. She's not a white woman. She's an Ebonyi State woman from Afi. But a lot of training. She's a Pan African. She has been in Rwanda. She has been in Ghana. You just see the testimony of a Ghanaian. A Ghanaian said, Jonathan Yebua. He said, here in Ghana, she started with Mr. Chinedu Anichi. Thanks for the great interview with Honorable Dr. Mercy Alu. Your questions are relevant and current. I have followed Dr. Alu's work and contribution to several communities. So he went down to say he's watching us from YouTube. He said, here in Ghana, she helped build a brand new school for high need community. I would like to know how can her followers also donate to her good works or projects. Wow, that's great. So somebody from Ghana is testifying of what she's able to do in Ghana. So blessing, Benitez, please take note of those who are participating because of our schedule tonight about what we're doing. We're doing a giveaway today for our followers in respect and support of Mercy. And so, blessing, you are here. Take note for those who actively participate. So that's great. So the person I'm bringing her back, she's already back to the studio, and she'll be back now. You see that I have established something big. I can really take you out, excuse you, and still bring you back.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
that's good. So
very
now,
well.
where we want to go into now is we want to look at the organization you have been able to work with,
Okay.
organizations you have been able to work with. Which organizations have you and the experience and what to look? Because for you to go to Rwanda, stay in Ghana for 3.5 years, for some time in Rwanda, stay for some time in Nigeria. You can speak French. Comment comprends le français bien?
Oui, je parle français. Mais
Oh,
ce n'est pas, c'est bien, mais il n'y a pas beaucoup de gens qui parlent français.
ok. Je suis étudiant le français.
Eh,
Étudiant.
ça, c'est bien ça. Oui, tu parles bien.
Je le comprends un peu, un
Oui,
peu.
tu comprends aussi. Ça, c'est bien.
So yeah, that's by the way. Yeah, so it's good. So you're a multilinguistic person, a multilingual person, and That earns you a lot of experience and exposure. Please share with us.
Okay, well, I can tell you Rwanda is just passing through. I'm not really as familiar with Rwanda, but of course, knowing people there, sometimes you can talk and learn a little bit more about it. I would say the organizations I've served, oh my goodness, I've worked in a few organizations. I'm not going to give you my resume download of maybe when I worked as a program manager for, this particular organization or the other. In the healthcare area, I've worked on the floor, but I've also worked, how it goes in healthcare. I've worked in acute care, which is when you work on either whatever the floor is, OB or whatever the floor is. And then I've also worked as a client services director. So there's an organization called Lexington Healthcare. After COVID, I don't even know what happened to them. Even my old friends there, when I called, the name of the organization changed. It looks like another organization took them over, but they're an acute care facility. So in that area, I've worked. Now in teaching, I've taught for Agosi University. So Agosi used to be in Schaumburg area, and then I've taught for Bridgepoint Education. So Bridgepoint Education has schools like Ashford University. I was teaching for Ashford, and then they have, other branches and so forth. So the UOP, people know of UOP, some of those general schools that they also have their online campuses as well. But then there's a Windsor, of course, Windsor University, which I just help with some of the dissertation materials and things like that. The there's a they're bringing some of the teaching here to US. So there's a branch. I don't know if I should call it a branch out of I think it's New York. So they have some online programs right now in the business field and other areas like that. There is an organization I volunteer with that is not, well, I wouldn't say it's not the mainstream University of the People. It's like it's a lower cost way of people earning their degree. That's the way I can summarize it. It's a lower cost way. So professors from other universities, including Harvard and other places or Yale, wherever they can get good professors, do volunteer at times to teach there. So you can take a class, you don't know whether the professor is with the University of Ohio or Pennsylvania or wherever they're from, and they can teach these classes. The students will then pay less tuition. So then they call them volunteers because they don't really pay them. They give them more like a stipend, So some of the and these are all in terms of the work area. And remember, I told you that with my master's, I have a HR management area. So I do HR consulting, which means those are contracts when I'm able to do them. So I've worked with Arthur Gallagher and also some other organizations on a few months here and there. AbbVie is a pharmaceutical company, most recent. So it really, if, for instance, they need someone who can do data analysis or someone who can help with workday systems. So workday is one of the human resources management systems that are being used in organizations, just like success factors. So it streamlines everything from onboarding through either termination or when a person, decides to, withdraw or resign from a work. So all of those processes are streamlined there. So I've done those kinds of consulting. Now, I think you asked me, those are more in the professional realm. Now, when it comes to volunteerism, I volunteered. Of course, we all have volunteered in church. I don't know anyone who has not volunteered in church. So, as for the choir, helping with the singing aspect and all that, I've done those ones, or writing material that can go on the projector for Sunday, those kinds of things. Now, I volunteered with the Globe Cal International, which is an organization that they have branches of ambassadors in different countries, including in some of the European countries. And in the country like, I think not Argentina, Venezuela, Venezuela and some of the countries around there, there is a they help with getting the issue of cocoa. They have a lot of cocoa there, so getting the indigenous people to be able to profit from some of those material that they grow in their lands when they are finally put to market. So that would be the way I can summarize some of the work they do there. And then they look at the I don't even understand this part. Okay, the carbon print or something, carbon footprints. There's other things they do with that. You know, when it comes to some of the high tech things that are not my field, I can sometimes wonder what it means. But they're doing something that gives credit for that. So that I think when people have less of that, they give them some kind of credit. So then in other countries like in Africa, they partner with the UN on they are a UN partner. So they are listed on the United Nations website of the partners. So they, bring on board people like me, like, goodwill ambassadors who can be representing in their areas. It's nice for me for branding, I would say, and some other few purposes, but I think I'm more interested in what does it do for the community. Well, you know what? I don't sing about things that will make people do bad things. Like, oh, let's just drink all night or drink all the next day. I sing songs that have a positive impact, but they're also fun and interesting. So I'm not like, oh, I'm so aged and I'm just rigid like a statue. And then I'm telling everyone to stand the same way. No, no, no. My music is fun and entertaining and interesting. So because of the subject matters that I present, that is why I can represent that kind of organization in these aspects, because they can translate what I'm doing to the end result of maybe making a positive impact in the society. And so that is one organization. Of course, we've talked about the International Association of African Authors and Scholars. Again, I apply wisdom in some of these boards and things that I serve on because I make sure that I'm able to have some capacity for it. And so, luckily, we don't have meetings all the time, but we have meetings that we can attend virtually, and everything is streamlined where it is totally doable. And again, I love the IAAS for so many reasons I mentioned earlier. It is a great organization that really helps to keep the light burning. Sometimes people get tired of writing or they get tired of doing whatever creative work they're doing. But when you have a group of people you belong to, and sometimes they post different things, and you know that, hey, you know what? I haven't really finished that book I was writing. Because you belong to the organization, you somehow fueled, on these topics. So that is just one of the things that I think one of the perks for me in being part of that. There's a lot of brilliant people in the organization. So that is one. And then I mentioned the Intercontinental Music Awards, and I'll tell you why I like it. I like the ICMA Awards because it is global. It is creating a global platform for talent from all over the world. And it started this even before we started hearing more about Afrobeats. Someone called me the other day, one of my first producers, Mr. Oga Otunala, and then also a shout out to Mr. Ben Osafo, one of the top producers out of Africa, out of Chi-Town, UNITY Entertainment, Chicago. So I'm giving a shout out to these guys. So anyway, I've got a lot of reminders. Hey, Mercy, you were doing Afro beats or Afro soul before it became something. Because even my songs back then were about Africa. I'll send you a couple of those to see what I mean. And they were kind of similar to what's going on now. And it's nice for me because if songs were recorded and they were not released, when you finally release them, the timing is right. So I'm going to say really that working with the IAAS, Intercontinental Music Awards, helping African people come out. I had a meeting with the Afrima director, the founder of Afrima Music Awards. Everybody knows about Afrima in Africa. We come to Africa, we want to make sure we get the highest award that there is. And the vision is similar. But the difference is just that the Intercontinental Music Awards takes it more to a global platform. You have people who are non-Africans, who are in the top of the profession, listening to the music and vetting it. And then they offer mentorship workshop. So you have people who are, the music licensing publishers, because if you license your music, you can get royalties. I need to make more, but I've made a little bit. I get a few things here and there for these things. But, I'm learning more myself too. And that's the knowledge I'm also passing across, that there's a system to it. It's actually a business. So we talk about music, or, we just want to sing because we love singing. But then you've got the business side of it. And the Intercontinental Music Awards provides the mentorship for the winners to learn about the business aspect, to learn about how it works behind the scenes. And then you have the professionals who are doing those things come up and talk to you in some of those, when you join those sessions. And so that's part of some of their winner package. They don't just give a certificate or an award, but they actually mentor. And this is what I like about them. Besides the fact that there's a global inclusivity, and then also people sometimes have a barrier of travel. So, if the awards are something that you have to find ticket, you have to find money, you have to look for where to go. Like the last time we had the Grammys and they said, oh, the video and others came and they made a lot of noise out there. And not everyone can do that. But the Intercontinental Music Awards is also held online, annually, where you can join from wherever you are. And if you won, it's announced and everything is celebrated. You're welcome to come to Hollywood after that if you want to go. You're welcome to follow up and network and do whatever else. You can visit anywhere you want to visit, but you don't have to think about how you have to visit the US in order to receive those awards. You see, I think that is absolutely awesome. And I also find that there are a lot of knowledgeable people who are part of it, because they are members of the Recording Academy, who are the ones that are voting the people who are going to win the Grammy Award. So I don't know what's the height of where you could go in music, because you're in good company, I think, in that organization. That's my thoughts about it. But because Africa is opening up to the music internationally now, I think it's a good timing for the ICMA Awards as it gains popularity in Africa also. And that's what I think my experience has been so far as an ambassador for those awards.
Wow.
You know,
We had it full today because you are just amazing.
well, you said
You
I
are
speak
just
like
amazing.
one person. I wanted to tell you something. I'm sorry to cut in. You never asked me to speak in my native dialects, and I can speak all of that. But I have never heard that I speak like the way I speak like Oyibo. I don't know. Maybe people listening can weigh in a little if they think it's true. I don't know. I heard you mention something like that.
Okay. Yeah, but when you were introducing yourself, you said you are from Afikpo in Ebonyi State, and
Okay, okay, okay.
those
That's
who
great.
know you'll be able. And when you were introducing yourself, maybe those people who are saying those things just join us. You were able to say some Igbo proverbs and adages and translated them in English perfectly.
Wonderful.
So
Yeah,
you were navigating
all of that.
perfectly from the vernacular back to English, and that's just it. So, about the tool of communication for universal absorption is English, and
Yes,
we also encourage our people despite all this. I'll come to that,
yes.
but I come to that. I have two major things that I'll come to that will be personal, and that will be when. So, what do you think about Grammy Award? And
Oh my goodness.
what do you think about Grammy Award?
You know what? For me, the Grammy Awards, to be honest with you, I actually went on the roster for the Grammy Awards. That was maybe my first time doing that because I had a publicity firm. Oh my, how can I forget my dear friend's name? Oh boy, this is not good. Beth Ann Hilton. So I want to give a shout out to Beth Ann Hilton. I really appreciate her, and she's wonderful in mentoring artists. She has been behind a lot of artists and marketed a lot of big names. A lot of the Grammy winning artists or Grammy nominated artists. She has also worked with, but she is a member of the Recording Academy. She likes my music, so she represented two of my songs. No, I think it was one of my songs, yes, to be on the ballot. So I think it is wonderful to be accepted into the ballot because there's a lot of criteria you still have to meet. It's not, I know it's nicer when you're nominated, and it's wonderful when you finally win a Grammy Award, yay! But it's a saxophone, it means a lot because of the significance that it gives. It gives a kind of, I want to say, a little bit more visibility that you won a Grammy Award. But I think even for me being a part of it, it opened the door for me to also be part of two different releases, one coming out this year and one came last year, collaborative music or CD of some Grammy nominated artists and other professionals, I mean, other musicians who won a lot of awards from different countries. So I'm part of that compilation, and it's released by a label last year and this year. I'm not the primary person who coordinated it, but I'm one of the production team. But I'm also an artist on it. So being on the ballot helped with those things. Being on the ballot is why Bongo Boy Records, picked up my work, and then they put me in another compilation of the Grammy balloted artists. So that one came out, I think, in February. Then they have other audience here and there. So then they ended up contacting me that they want my music to play the African Queen song. It's really PBS, but the station plays in so many different states and all of that. So I was getting things about that. But it's all linked to really being, again, on the ballot or getting into, just that one time that I even submitted to the Grammys. I got a lot of things out of it. But for me, it has been more of the networking. So I think the Grammys are great, but the networking is the main point. There are a lot of wonderful artists who did not win a Grammy Award, and a lot of them that we know. I don't remember, well, there are some names I used to know that, okay, these are well known people who didn't win. I don't have them all at the top of my head, and I don't want to make a mistake to say someone didn't win a Grammy when they had. But there are a lot of them, and you can look it up. They just Google, famous artists who never won a Grammy Award, and you'll find out that winning a Grammy Award is actually not a criteria for being a wonderful artist, for being out there really with your work. One of the things I have not done well in is I have not held a lot of live events. When I sing live, including in church, when I just do a little, people come up to me after and they want more. They want me to sing more. They want to know me. I notice that it opens a door for connections. So maybe I need to do a little more of that. Um, you know, when you connect, especially, I think big festivals or events that bring together a lot of people, I think the word goes around and you get a little more visibility. But I'm more of a recording artist than a touring artist. I have a family, I have other things that I do. So I limit a little bit of that. But nowadays, everything is online. So if you're an artist, you should not focus on the Grammy Awards as your, I want to say, your first and initial goal. Because we in Africa, now that we have some of our artists who are dual citizens, like the video or other people. And by the way, many people who are Nigerian artists, including Tiwa Savage, when they base overseas, they make it when they come back home. I don't know if you've noticed that. Because you have more, you're a big fish in a smaller pond. The United States has people from all over the world. It's saturated. You compete with so many. Sometimes your talent may not really be recognized for what it is. In fact, if you are here and you are singing in pidgin English in the United States, a lot of people will not understand what you're singing about. So being authentic helps a lot. You really want, as an artist, first to enjoy your work, have a passion for it, and then it feeds your soul. It gives you energy, it keeps you young, it keeps you fresh. It's a reward of its own. It gives you a lot of good health. Because without that, I think health will be much worse, right? If you're not doing something that feeds your soul in some way, and it keeps you going. So now you translate that to other people. You encourage people. You inspire people. You use your work to sing about things that people are also thinking about. So you sing their heart, you touch people with your music. And then you want to translate that maybe to sales because you have to eat, right? So when people stream your music, they download it online, they buy the physical CDs. When you go to events, you earn some money. Those are very important. The Grammy Awards is just that a few of your peers, that's other artists, other professionals, other people who are in music, are saying, wow, you're doing a pretty good job. And then they give you a saxophone, and not a real saxophone, but a sculpture of it that's made from some nice materials, right? So you take it home and you put it on your desk or put it in the corner on your studio where you record, and that's it. Unless you go out and begin to put in your bio that you want that Grammy, whatever that saxophone you got, and you're going to places to sing and present your work, and you include that in your bio, and it sells you and it makes your brand look nicer, that's where you make your money from. They don't give you a Grammy award, which is here is the award, then hand you a bunch of money in your hand. No, it's the doors it opens, the networking, the opportunities, and you being able to make use of them. That's what the Grammy Award actually is. So I'm explaining all of this because in Africa, sometimes we don't understand these things. We don't understand that you can't just enter the Grammys. You have to have a record label or a top rated a production firm. Like I said, the PR person that got me in, the PR company, right? You can't just get up and apply to the Grammys. So it doesn't work like that. And then it's peer based. So the people in your industry are the one that vote for you. But it doesn't mean that that reflects your talent or that there are not wonderful artists out there who did not win a Grammy. It is not a measure for your talent or your art in totality.
Wow, this is a mind blowing explanation with all clarity because some of us don't know what is involved. I'm not in music. I only hear that this person, Burna Boy, won a Grammy award. This person won a Grammy. I don't know. So sometimes I look at it like World Cup that comes with it.
Okay, I understand. Yeah.
But
That's
you have explained to us because it's not just about winning, but the networking.
it's
So
the
I'm going to have
networking.
that. Okay, let's go a bit. You have said a lot of things about yourself, about your profession, about what you do. So I now want to tell you the reason why we established that this platform called Chinedu Anichi TV and why you are here. Yes, Africans. Stories of Africans have been told in different places by different people that are non-Africans. The Asians have said a lot about Africans. The Europeans have said a lot about Africa. The Americans, the different people made movies about Africa, wrote books about Africa, made songs about Africa. But um, our great novelist and legend, Chinua Achebe of the Blessed Memory, may his soul rest in peace, made a statement that triggered the establishment of this platform. And the statement he said is that when an outsider tells your story, the story will not end without prejudice. The story will not reveal the feeling of the, the real events that took place. But we should, he encouraged us to try as much as possible to say our own story. Do you understand? So I established this platform to be able to bring Africans to talk their own talk,
Wonderful.
tell their own stories. We showcase our own brands and see what successful venture is also as attained by Africans. So you are one of our great people. Yeah, sometimes somebody might not know how great he or she is, maybe because of humility, maybe because of your Christian morality or whatever. But I want to tell you, you are one of our great African celebrities,
Thank you.
and especially in America.
Thank
And
you.
we are here today to showcase you for people to see the progress from Africa. I'm not joking about what I'm saying. And as you're looking at it, look at the dashboard. You will see on Facebook, you still have 240 people watching from different countries on Facebook. So on Instagram, I don't know how many people. On YouTube, I don't know how many people for now. So, but what I'm saying is this: we continue to advocate. I got to know about you through International Association of African Authors and Scholars. What they do, that's why I decided to, on my own, to partner with them, because what they do in print, they let African voices through books, through authorship, especially on hard copies,
Yes.
but also through the media, we give voice to Africans to tell their stories.
Yes.
Africans tell their stories in novels, in books, and that's what International Association of African Authors encourage. And myself, I give them voice in the media, in the soft media. So we are doing the same thing. And that's
Exactly.
where I discovered you as one of the participants in that process. So you have come to represent what we intended while establishing this platform. So I thank you for making yourself available, to making yourself a mouthpiece of Africa, and for telling your own story as an African.
Thank
So, but that being said, I want to ask you something. There is increased rate of divorce in African community more than any other community in US. What do you think is causing this? Because I know you. Because they say some people will just say about a woman getting, you know, having money or getting to work or getting to this. But with all this you're doing, with this your music, with this your academic, with it, you are still married and still very, very conscious of your home. What do you suggest? What do you think that causes this? And what is your advice to the young generation?
you. Yes. Okay, so now I would like to just correct something a little bit there. I have had my challenges when it comes to relationship. I think I would be a good person to ask this question because I have experienced and also observed other people's experiences when it comes to relationships, when it comes to marriage in diaspora. Okay, and I think nowadays too, even in Nigeria and other African countries, the thing is this: there are many variables that contribute to these issues. One of them is not being authentic. People have a lot of things that they are looking for before they get into a marriage or a relationship. And some of the
Yeah.
mistakes I have made, which, like I was saying before, it ties into it, which is being so giving or being so kind and compassionate and empathetic. So you take on pretty much almost 100% of the work, and someone else does almost nothing, you see, or rather keeps expecting more. The thing is this: it happens to men, it happens to women. There are men who go to Africa, they bring someone here, the person comes, the person collects all that they have, and eventually kicks them out of the house. You see, there are men that those things happen to, where they feel someone is innocent, someone is gentle, someone is nice and calm. And once the person comes here, they realize it was maybe acting, maybe now they have opportunity and they have freedom, and now they can finally bring out their reality of who they are. Now, our concept of what would make a good partner, also is part of the issue. We don't realize that when we say, when someone is educated, and I'm talking about Nigeria, for example, because not all African countries are patriarchal. There are African countries that are also matriarchal in how they approach it, depending on the ethnic group. But in Nigeria, for example, oh, if this woman is educated or she has a nice job, she's not going to be submissive. Okay, we think being submissive means being mute. You don't talk, you don't give a suggestion, you don't know anything. And so if you're not educated and you're not able to sustain yourself, you're wonderful. See, that is a mistake, because then when you bring that kind of person to where they find opportunity, then they show you their real nature. But we don't understand that when you meet a nice person, which there are many nice people, even back home or in diaspora, and they are not dependent on you, where they are saying, you need to pay all my bills. My mother is sick, pay for that. My sisters are sick. In fact, you meet a lady with no children, but they have so much responsibility waiting for you. It's like someone that has 8 children, something like that, just because of the things they are bringing that you have to solve. So when when we look at life and getting a nice partner just on the surface, that this person does not have the means. So the lack of education, they don't have the means to support themselves. Therefore, they are going to be faithful and nice and humble. It's just tied to what they don't have at that moment. You cannot predict what they're going to do when they get it. So, but if you meet someone who is just who they are, whether they have or they don't have, whether they're educated or not, and you study their character, and then you bring them to America or you live with them in Africa, then you get the best out of them. The same goes for women. I think the immigration is also another challenge that people are having that affects divorce, because sometimes people get married, they can't live together right away because of the immigration processes. So it takes a while, and then people are living apart. And sometimes someone who is overseas needs to marry someone else because they need to settle there, they need to get established in some ways, and so forth. There's so many variables that have to do with that aspect. And then, sometimes also people have a plan for their lives. I always tell people, and I've learned, but I tell people we don't want to learn the hard way. We are going to learn by hearing and also watching what is happening around us. You know, the issue of wanting to hustle and get ahead in life is different from relationship and marriage. But people mix the two up. And I tell people nowadays the easiest way to scam somebody, to dupe somebody, to attack somebody is through relationship and marriage. If your agendas are different, because someone can really love you because you're in diaspora, because they really, really, really want to travel. They've tried every means. They must marry someone from diaspora. So at that point, you are just so wonderful. When they come, they will still, bring out a few things, but they are still waiting because they're not established yet. When they get the work permit, get the green card, get some things going for themselves, then they begin to notice you are too fat. You are like this, you are like that. The things that didn't matter before, they begin to matter. And then they move on. Not everyone is going to come and tell you, this is my actual motivation or plan for doing this or doing that. And the funny thing is, not everybody even knows what their motivation is. People think once husband comes or wife is there and you marry, you have a nice, wonderful celebration. At least you've done something nice. But a lot of people, when they sit down and think within themselves, what really made me love this person? If you take away the money, maybe the person will look different to them. If you take away the fact that they have American papers or they live in whatever country, maybe that person will look different to them. So we have this immigration and lack of authenticity challenges. Then we have the social environment. There are social environmental factors that make divorce really rampant among the African diaspora. The thing is this: when you bring in a culture whereby a woman is in the kitchen, he cooks, he cleans, he takes care of children, he does all these things, and the husband works and brings money, and you get into an environment where you need two incomes to survive. The wife must work, the husband must work. Now, the same pressure the man feels when he goes to work and he comes home, he needs a nice meal, someone to rub his back and ask him, how was your day, and cheer him up. Now the woman is having that same pressure too. I take this back again, I have a Christian foundation where it says, the man shall sweat by his brow to labor and bring out fruit. That was after the fall in the garden. And the curse on the woman was she's going to suffer in childbirth, and then you're always going to desire a husband, because even with all the suffering, she forget about it and then she still suffer more. Okay, But it was not assigned to the woman to suffer through the sweat of her brow in laboring for the food and stuff. Women are not really wired like that. It does affect women because women are more emotional. I think even in terms of the wiring of how to get over stress and things like that. But also balance it with the natural responsibilities that women were known to do in our African culture, which is cook and clean and then do all kinds of things. But then you're also in diaspora where you cannot easily have your cousin helping you, a maid from the village, someone that you can pay cheaply to do a lot of things. The madam that a lot of people do in Africa doesn't work in the diaspora. You have to roll up your sleeves, cook, clean, sweep your house, bath your children, take care of your husband, take care of work. So when you're doing all of that, if you have an understanding partner who actually cares that you're so weak and tired right now, why don't you sit down? Let's order a meal. Why don't you sit down? Okay, I don't cook very well, but I'll make a small stew. You all eat. Sometimes it can cheer a lady up. But we are not everyone understands these things. So we have a lot of these clashes. And another thing with that social cultural environment is that when you fight in Africa, your neighbors will run and come. What is happening? No, no, no. Okay, sit down, calm down. You need to listen to your husband. You hear what he said? Your pastor can come to the house. You have people who will come and settle your problem. You can report to parents and elders. They will come from village. I heard you have not talked with your husband for 3 days now. I heard that you guys are now doing this or that, and they will counsel you. When you live in diaspora where the highest that can happen, your neighbors may call police for you because you and your husband are fighting. You have additional stress on your life on how to handle this relationship. And remember, in Africa, you can join the women's group. When people have a baby, you put powder, you also uniform, you go together, you go and dance and sing and come back. Your husband joins his meetings, he has other outlets, he has buddies, he has friends. There are a lot of outlets that you're not just two of you in the house. From morning to night, go to work, come in, face each other, and talk among yourselves about everything. You have to be you fight, you settle the fight, you discuss all your things, you plan about your life, you do all the domestic work, you both earn the income. The pressure of the diaspora and the way that we try to balance our cultural origins and the environment in which we find ourselves, these are all part of the things that affect marriages in the African diaspora. And I'll leave it at this.
Wow, you are really a scholar. But did you do a research on this? Because
No,
you presented it as if it's a research work.
because you asked me and I
the,
thought
the
through the
coordinated and the segmented way you are developing it from this to this and to. Let me tell you,
it's
I
from
am going to
teaching. It's
post
from
this.
teaching.
This part of it, I'm going to post it because very, very relevant. And let me tell you, I've been listening to people talk about, but I've not seen somebody who touched it holistically the way you did.
Thank
So
you.
God bless you for coming out strong for that. So this time, I want you, all these your experiences, how can you translate it to helping Nigeria, helping Africa, helping Ebony State? It will be helping Osaka, where I come from.
Well, let me tell you how. First of all, yes, we all have vision and we have a goal of where we are, what we are going or where we are going, what we are called to do, but nobody really does it alone. No man is an island. So this is a question of what we say in our language, akan rikwa ke, ake kapo, akan.
Shoot.
So being the fact that I guess I do have background and experience and some of the exposure to be able to be a voice in different aspects. The organizations I volunteer from, people come from all these different areas, and it helps their communities when we talk about literacy, teaching, and all the different things that I do. So in those ways, I'm helping our communities, through the organizations that I serve. Also, just even representing the cultural dynamics and telling our stories. You talked about history. It's like when we say his story or her story. What about my story? You see, as Africans, when we tell our own stories through literature, the books that we write, through music, the songs that I write about, when you think about African queen, if you listen to the words, I said, I am a real African queen. My mama is a real African queen. Every woman is a real African queen. In the beginning, a story made up of kings and queens, and everybody was queens and kings, and everybody's up there, right? And the magic carpet, it unfolds to let you hear stories untold. So when you listen to my music, my lyrics, there's even some of them that in the a few of the ones I did before where I actually do a kind of rap poetry in the middle of one of them. I'll send you that one because it's quite interesting. And so I think through my work, the fact that I didn't compromise. I've been to America for a while now. I've been in America for a while. I've traveled and all of this, but I didn't forget where I come from. So it's very easy to start doing R&B, doing all of these other kinds of music, and I sing reggae music very well too. But I really present Africa and the stories of Africa in my work, including my literature, because the primary person in that book, Nana and the village of Obodo and all the story. I'm going to send you also a link for my book so you can be able to have access to it, Mr. Chinedu, and a few other things afterwards. So, and when people have dissected it and made it into chapters to read, as they read it, they learn more about our Igbo cultures, they learn more about our people, and the more people become familiar, the more they become acceptable. They begin to include you in their planning processes. They begin to see, the value that you bring. I used to pray that Africa in Afrobeat and everything will go global, and it's happening. And I am so delighted because I've always been passionate about African music and African, creativity. When it comes to the villages, the towns, Obodani, where we come from, I think when people support me, they support me online, they support me and follow my music, they like my material. The one they don't like it, and they also comment the reason why, so I can learn and keep growing also. We all grow together. It helps me too, because it helps me to continue to, be a voice and to also continue to grow in what I do, have more opportunities, translate into more income, then I can do more. So when we say we need to put lights in this village, we need to, fix this road here, we need to build a school. For now, I'm doing it through, let's say I'm contributing to an insurance fund or something, and then they use it to build a school like the one that was just built in Ghana. So I would like to also do something like that, in my village where I come from, and in other Igbo villages here and there, including your own village, my brother. And also, really, I think encouraging African artists. I've spoken to ARA, I've spoken to Platform One, also I supported Pure Gold, it's a South African group. And some of our artists that are from other countries like the DRC Congo, there are a lot of Africans everywhere, not just Nigerians, who need some way to express themselves on a global platform. And I'm very big on that. And that's why I encourage people, when they want to submit to some awards and they look at what it can do for them and weigh when they're able to, I would encourage that. But also, I think just being visible and using the gift that we have is a way of helping our communities. Because if we remember the parable of the talents, and I use scriptures in between as well, because that is who I am. When a servant was given one talent, he hid that talent. He didn't want to use it. The other one was given 10. He went out and he sold it and he reaped even more. And so we are sent to people. We are sent to some people. When one person fails, you don't know all the different people that one person was supposed to affect positively, that now could not get that kind of input into their lives because that one person failed. So if you remember, even when God blessed people, He blessed them and their generations, including who they are sent to. We are more than an individual. Every single one of us is very important as an individual, but we really, really do make an impact all around us. So what I will tell you is I will always support our people, but I also ask my people to support me. If you support me, we are also supporting ourselves. And when I support you, I'm also supporting myself. So
Yeah.
together we do that.
That brings us to a word of support. So, my people, you can see Mercy, Honorable Dr. Mercy Ngozi Alu on Facebook and on Instagram. I want you to mention your handles so that our viewers can look for you and
Yes,
see how they can help before we go to on my own side. Just like I told you yesterday, I'm saying it on air so that you know that I'm serious about it. So the way I want to support is that anybody that is coming from you has a free participation on this platform. Free. No dollar, no naira attachment. As far as it has your referral code.
yes.
So that's what I want to tell you. And anytime, any day, you want to tell the world anything, do well to message on this platform to let
Wonderful.
you know. You have seen what this platform is all about,
Yes,
what it can do. Because sometimes if you don't come, you will not know.
that's
So
right.
you're part of the circle, and we'll continue to bring you here. There are issues that can come up, and we would want you to come and talk about it.
Of
We'll just
course.
call you.
Sure.
So you are
Sure.
part of us, and we are so grateful. So I want you to mention your handles, and if there are places they can see your music and stream it for you to make money to, you let the people know.
Sure. You know what? Yes, I'll say a few of them, and whatever I can't remember, you know what? I'll send it to you. Maybe you can post it in the comment section later. On Instagram, ngo.alu. So ngo.alu. That is my Instagram. And then on Facebook, of course, you can just Messi Alu. I have a link there, Honorable Messi Ngozi Alu. That's one of my main pages. And then also, I have a page that's just Messi Alu. If you Google Messi Alu or Messi Ngozi Alu, there's so many links. You can find me on Apple Music. On YouTube, it's Mercy TV, Mercy TV. So, but it's still Mercy Alu. So that will pull everything up. So there's Spotify. Of course, Spotify is always great if you can, follow me on Spotify. And then you can find my music to stream on YouTube Music. So YouTube Music has a channel for music artists that are verified official channels. And there is a channel there too. If you put Messi Alu or Messi Ngozi Alu, I find that some links come up with one, all of them come up on the Messi Ngozi Alu. So whichever one. And I would say, really, you can follow me on Facebook, you can follow me on YouTube, you can follow me on Instagram. I used to be big on Twitter, but since it changed to X, I guess I've gotten a little confused. So I don't use the Twitter as much, but I'm on there, Um, However, definitely, I can send a couple of links to also to stream, directly. I can send it to you, Mr. Chinedu, later, and maybe it can be just pinned in the comment section somewhere. Thank you. I can't hear you. It's off the mic.
So you have done great, and it was a very good interactive, very mind blowing interactive session. I
Thank
know
you.
even yourself you're happy. Um, our followers are
It's
happy.
been wonderful. Yes,
Everybody.
I've enjoyed it
So
too.
it's
Yes,
educative. That's what I promise my people. Instead of the whole world being in darkness, we can light a candle so that
that's right.
everybody is following where they are talking about this and that on social media. We decided to carve a niche for ourselves where
That's
we
right.
showcase our people and give voice to Africans to talk their own talk and talk
Wonderful.
their stories. And that's why we're happy and we're contented with whatever is coming out of it.
Yes,
So, and I know you have such an idea too. So that's why you can be part of our team, can
thank
be
you.
part of whatever we do from now.
Thank
So thank you for coming. But before we draw the curtain, what can you tell the world about Chinedu Anichi TV?
you. I like Chinedu Anichi TV, and of course, I'm very authentic in expressing what I think. If I didn't think you were making much of an impact, I probably would find a nice way to say it and mention some things that could improve. Pardon me. But guess what? This is what I genuinely believe. This is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful outlet, a voice for Africans in diaspora, and I believe actually all over the continent,
Yeah,
not only in the diaspora.
the globe.
Yes, I think Chinedu Anichi TV is bridging a gap. There is a gap. There's a lot of TV programs out there that are based in one particular country or the other, but I think the international approach and the global approach of Chinedu Anichi TV to bring the voices in the diaspora and bring the voices on the continent. And then all of this is on this platform so that we together as African people can see what is happening in our communities, encourage positive impacts, and encourage a lot of things that we want to see happen more, and also learn and grow together. I think Chinedu Anichi TV is quite uniting in that aspect. I mean, look at all the people from different countries who are here watching at this particular moment. And of course, it is going to just continue to grow and gain momentum. And I believe that even having a particular focus and vision, and not just, in one aspect, either entertainment or this or that, but having a vision to achieve something in our communities as Africans by being a voice. I think that in and of itself says a whole lot about this particular platform. So I highly endorse Chinedu Anichi TV, and I highly, highly would say that anybody who is able to support in any way, by tuning in, whatever needs to be done, so that this continues to be a movement and we continue to gain momentum. It is a great thing for all of us as Africans to have a voice. Thank you very much. And that's what I would have to say.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Honorable and Dr. Mercy Ngozi Alu. Great. Before finally we leave the studio, achọrọ m ka ị were Igbo kene ndị be anyị.
Okay. Okay. Ihe mere bụ na ihe abụghị ihe a na-afụ ma ndị na-achọ ịkụziri ụmụ Igbo na diaspora. Mụnwa na-asị ọ bụrụ Central Igbo, kụzie Central Igbo, ọ ga-enwe ka ọ ga-esi wee nụkwa other dialects in a way, because we have a lot of dialects. So for me to greet our people, it depends on which part our people come from. Mana nsị unu ndewo, nsị unu daalụ sọ, nsị unu ọ bụ ndị Owerri ha sị anale. I don't know. Anale means it's like how is it? How is it going? Get it God? Afikpo ga-asị jọọkwa, ụmụahịa ga-asị mma. So enwekwa ndị ga-asị ka deje nwekwa ndị ga-asị ka. So ekene juru anyị Igbo amaka. So asị nka nkene ndị be anyị, thank you very much. Unu emena. So onye ọbụla jisi ike na nke ọ na-eme.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable and Dr. Mercy Ngozi Alu, for coming to Chinedu Anichi TV. Today we are drawing the curtain, and thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Thank
we'll
you.
continue to bring you if need be.
Yes.
And
Sure.
we appreciate. We also thank our great followers on Instagram, on YouTube, on everywhere, on all platforms, for coming out in mass today to listen to you. It's not enough that you listen to her. Keep sharing, Know that the world, this voice you are seeing today, will get to all corners of the world, all the corners of the world. And she will also know that you visited Chinedu Anichi family.
That's
God
right.
bless you. God bless you, ma.
God bless
Yeah,
you.
God bless you.
And God bless you all. God bless everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, hello, my people. My name is Chinedu Anichi, your one and only celebrity CSO. And in the studio today was Dr. or is, yes, is Dr. Honorable Dr. Mrs. Mercy Ngozi Alu from Illinois in United States of America. An academic, a PhD holder, in different things, a teacher, a songwriter, an award-winning musician, a research fellow, and different things. And I know you people gained from the wealth of her experience and wisdom. We promised you that we'll continue to bring back to back people who will be bringing very, very positive contents to you as Africans. So remember, humanity is at the center of what we do. Don't fail to help. Don't fail to give somebody else a visit. Don't wait for the richest man around your place. We are all potential destiny helpers wherever we are. So look out today for somebody to help. Look out tomorrow for somebody to lift, because we rise by lifting others. And we are the African voice in diaspora. Chinedu Anichi TV, we give you back to back. Remember, we stream live on Instagram at Chinedu Anichi TV, on Facebook, Chinedu Anichi TV, on YouTube, Chinedu Anichi TV, on TikTok, Chinedu Anichi TV, on Twitter, Chinedu Anichi TV. Thank you for being there with us. For those who participated right away for the promise we made, so you put down your account number for the little support that will be coming from us today. For those of you who participated to the end now, you can now put your account number under why my vendor will credit you for participating. I promise you that I will support her coming today with a giveaway. God bless you, and God bless you again.